Hey, Resonate, Pastor Curtis here. Well, if you're like most of us, you would like to have a more satisfying life. And in our current message series called Taste and See, Jesus continually refers to himself as being the food that we need, the water that we need, the things that we need to be content in life. And this last weekend, we looked at this really interesting interaction he had with the Samaritan woman at the well. And at first, the conversation doesn't go so well. She's not really listening to him. She's kind of talking over Jesus, but he tells her that he is the living water and not like water that we need during the day, and after we drink it, we're thirsty again, but water that is truly satisfying. And then he said, and then this water becomes a well, a spring of living water inside of you that you'll always have. Of course, he's talking about contentment and satisfaction. She thinks he's talking about water, but she finally gets it, understands what he's saying. She listened to him, and then she took action based on hearing Jesus, and she told everybody in her village about Jesus. And scripture tells us that many people believed in Jesus, and that what the far-ranging effect that had from her taking action, listening to Jesus and taking action. It's a model for us. And so one of the things we talked about this last weekend, and I hope you'll take advantage of this. I hope we can all do this together. I hope you'll do this with me. Jesus, in a at the tail end of the Sermon on the Mount, he said something, and I believe it is a promise that you can 100% believe in and rely on. Jesus said that when you put the things that I say into practice, you will have built your life on a solid rock, and your life you're going to withstand all the storms. You're going to be left standing. You're going to have God's blessing upon you. And it's one of the very rare times in Scripture where you see Jesus actually saying, if you do this, then this is going to happen. And like I said, it comes at the tail end of the Sermon on the Mount. So he says, put the words in action that I have just spoken to you. And you're going to be blessed, and you are going to withstand the trials of life. You're going to experience satisfaction, in other words. And so one of the things I encourage us to do is to read, like that Samaritan woman, read, hear, right? We want to hear the words of Jesus, and we want to believe them and take action on them. Because that's the path to satisfaction. So will you join me these next few weeks? Camp out and read Matthew chapter 5, 6, 7, just 3 chapters, the Sermon on the Mount, and do what it says. As you start out, you'll see that one of the things that Jesus said is, don't expect to not have persecution in your life. Actually, when you do, when you're persecuted for righteousness, you're persecuted for doing the right thing, you really are blessed. And so one of the things I'm taking away right away from Matthew 5 is don't run away from persecution. Don't run away from tough times for living out the life of Jesus. Really, really lean into that. That's really impacting me today, and the conversations that I have and the thoughts that I'm having. But hopefully, we'll share some of these ideas, some of these things that God's bringing to your mind, and some of the things that's happening in your life, because you're listening to the words of Jesus, you're believing, and you're taking action on them. I'd like to collect some of these things, have you share some things, I'll share some things, and really encourage each other with what God is doing in our lives. Okay, that's it for this week. Remember, read, listen, believe, and act on Jesus, the words of Jesus from Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7. All right, God bless you. We'll see you this coming week at Resonate.